again and welcome. Today I'm going to be turning or finish turning this elderberry vase. Back in October last year I wet turned it. It was from a tree which we cut down in the garden, an elderberry tree which had rotted and died basically. And I managed to save a couple of limbs, of which this was one, which didn't seem to have any extensive cracking, etc. And now it's dry, between 8 to 9% is dry for my workshop. There seems to be no cracking, so I'm very pleased with that. The feature that really interested me was this bark area here, and obviously I want to keep that. So my first, I did drill a 2-inch Forstner bit, a hole down to about 9.5 inches, and then filled it with shavings and put it away to dry, and it seems to have worked on this particular piece. My first job is to true up the tenon, and then I'll spin it round, put it in the large gripper jaws, the Axminster large gripper jaws, and then finish turn it, and I will be finishing it with the Hampshire Sheen burnishing oil, the citrus burnishing oil, because I wanted to feed the wood and I just want a nice sheen on here as opposed to a high gloss. Okay, so without further ado, let's get turning this elderberry vase. So I've got it mounted in the rubber chucky cone drive in my spindle, and that will drive the piece, and I've got my live center. So my first job is to true up the tenon. So I'm at a point now, I use the Simon Hope round negative rake scraper, and what I've done, I've trued up all the inside, because obviously that wasn't true either. So now I've got it basically to the shape I want here. I'm going to put the cone, the rubber chucky cone in here to give it support. When I have sanded the inside and just round here on the lip, and then I can work on the outside. So I've now sanded to 400, and the reason I wanted to do it this way is because I've actually finished here. If you like, that's all shaped nicely and all true. Now, for extra support, when I'm doing the final shaping on the outside, I shall bring up the rubber chucky, and I've screwed it onto my live center here, and then that means that that'll be running nice and true as well, and will give me that little bit of support when I'm turning, and I can actually work here to get this as I want it without interfering with what I've already sanded. So I've got to a stage now where I like the shape. The reason this caliper was being used is that is the, if I go any lower than that, I'm going to be very close to going through the hole down the middle. So I kept measuring to make sure. All I'm going to do now is use a 1/2 inch spindle gouge just to bring down this a little bit more and bring it in a bit, and then it'll be sanding and finishing. Right, now unfortunately, due to the sanding, the spark detached itself. Well, luckily enough I managed to locate it all, so I'm now left with a dilemma. Do I CA glue it on and keep that lovely character, which I think I'm going to do. I mean, if I didn't do that, I'd have to remove this piece as well and then just have this smooth and just have it as a feature. But I think I'm going to go with trying to stick it down, and I'll come back when that's done and I'll continue sanding. So it's all stuck down now, and I'm quite pleased with how it's looking. When you've put an oil finish on there, any overspill here should not be noticeable. I'm going to give it another 5 minutes to make sure it's solid, and then I will carry on sanding, and as I always say, ready for finishing and the job will be done. And if it should come off, then I'll just remove it all and sand that just as a blank feature, but I would really like to keep this on because I think it looks good. Okay. So it's all sanded up now to 400 and it's stayed on quite nicely. I'm now going to be using Hampshire Sheen citrus burnishing oil inside and out, and I will give it one coat to begin with just for the video, and then I will maybe give another couple of coats, just see how it goes. And you let it go off for about, after you've applied it to the wood, allow 3 or 4 minutes for it to get any excess off, and then you can buff it to a nice sheen. Okay. And I think that's come out rather well. And I might give it a few more coats at a later date. We'll just see how it goes. So time to part him off now, and the job's done. Well, here's the finished vase. Very pleased how it turned out. A little bit of a whoopsie moment when the bark came off, but I stuck that back on with CA glue and it seems to have held pretty well, and it adds character to what otherwise is quite a plain wood. And finished with Hampshire Sheen citrus burnishing oil, and yes, for the Doubting Thomases, I haven't put my maker's mark yet, but I have finished the bottom as I always do. It stands at 10.5 inches tall and it's just under 4 inches at the widest point, top and bottom. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you very soon. Cheers now.